Peace. I'm back again for another little session on some of the stuff that is in the books of God and argued about by many, oblivious to most. And this subject, which I want to talk about today, the life of the world we live in, which is this life everybody lives in, and the life of the hereafter, which most people have absolutely no understanding of. They don't understand it. They make stories out of it. They've mutilated the books of God, um, what his messengers brought, what we bring, and they fantasize over what the hereafter is because nobody can prove it. I can't prove it to you that the hereafter exists except from the signs of this book and what you can understand what is going on in the world today, how the life comes and goes all year round in the north and the south, in the winter and the summer, in the spring and the fall. And then it repeats every year. The flowers bloom, the flowers wither, the crops come, the crops go, the fruit comes, the fruit goes, we come, we go, oh, but we don't come back. The fruit and crops and all that stuff, that comes up back every year. So that's a very clear sign that resurrection is very possible and actually is absolute truth in the world around us. The magical world we live in today, the world of the life of this world, the world that God has created for all of us on this earth. So, what most people focus on is the life of the world, and they will never talk about death or discuss death because it's a taboo subject, you know. They create it as if, no, no, let's just keep that away. And when people die, it's like, you know, let's have a big funeral, let's say 5 good words about them while we hate them in our hearts. But since they're dead, we might as well say a few good words about them. And then we move on with our lives, not thinking that we are going to end up in exactly that place. Each one of us, there is no exception. All this innuendo and hype that has been brought about by your technology and that you can somehow live in a machine is a farce of an order that has not been created in any known history of man before. Unknown history may have been, but any known history, nobody has been able to come with any evidence that somebody uploaded himself into the machine. And we've been taught this machine life possibility over the last 4 or 5 decades with all these theories. There's no proof, and all these movies and stories that we are told that we will live forever in this world. Somehow, you know, our consciousness is going to be uploaded into the computer. Garbage, absolute nonsense, lies, falsehood to delude you into loving the life of the world. So then you focus on how do I get myself to the level of wealth or power that I can get into the machine and live forever. Do you not see this? I mean, are you blind? Are you that blind? I mean, that's the question that you need to ask yourself. I'm not. I can see it clearly what's going on, and it's a farce beyond belief, a proportion that is so enormous that you cannot understand it because your lives are molded around this technology that has been invented over the last 50, 60 years. And you are so immersed in it that you cannot see anything but that. I mean, and I'm not lying, you can't see anything but that. Your eyes can't waver from watching that garbage. And if you think I'm lying, then most of you are lying to yourselves. There are some like me, there are quite a few like me, but there is no one who I see with the knowledge of the books of God that I have. I don't see that person. If that person exists out there, please contact me. I will be more than happy to discuss with you, and your knowledge might complement mine, and mine might complement yours. But I've been searching for 13 years. I have not come across a man who has this knowledge that I have, does not speak of the books of God as I do. So, I mean, let's go back to this life of the world. What is the life of the world? Do you think it lasts forever? If you think that, you're just lying and being deluded as you already are. There's no infinite life here. No soul comes into this life with perpetual existence in this life. Not a soul. Every soul will taste the death. So now, when you know you're going to die, what is the value of this life then? Think about that a little bit. What is the value of a life which is going to end with absolute surety? But you're not sure of that. I am. That's the difference. Then, when you think about the hereafter, you don't believe it exists. So, when a person like me comes and says the hereafter is the actual life and this is just a farce, I'm a crazy moron. I'm a guy who has no knowledge. I am spewing garbage, inventing things which I don't know anything about. While you go around in life inventing garbage every day of seen things and lying about what's in front of our eyes. And that's okay. Be polite, uh, learn etiquette, learn how to sit properly, learn how to dress properly, learn how to speak properly. Okay, keep going at that. I'm going to speak as I wish because that's what my heart says. If my heart is wretched, then the wretchedness will come out. You cover your hearts, you cover your souls. You don't say the truth in your hearts and souls. You hide it from us, but you're not hiding it from God. And most of us messengers, we see through your garbage when you speak to us. And you utter garbage lies, which the book destroys in every fashion, mode, every angle that you can see and cannot see, because I see them. So, keep enjoying the life of the world. You keep enjoying this life. That's what you do because you don't believe the hereafter exists. The concept of the hereafter, if you understand the hereafter, that this life is not even a drop in the ocean, if the ocean is the hereafter, then you will focus on this drop because the ocean doesn't exist. It's as simple as that. So now look around you and yourselves. What do you focus on? What do you rely on? Your fathers, your bosses, your corporations, your governments, your secret societies that you've created that control most of the existence of this world today, of what happens, because God lets you. And you think that makes you God. Pharaoh thought exactly the same thing. He accused Moses of being a lowly, not even clear in his speech, didn't have any wealth. No angel came down with him. He had, and I have, this is what Pharaoh said, I have rivers flowing from beneath the gardens, don't you see? And he's got nothing. He's a lowly guy. And if you believe the story of the Torah and the Bible and the Quran, all three are telling the same thing about Moses. What ended up with Pharaoh? Don't you see his mummies? You still see them. You can see that they're preserved in their mummified forms, which God writes in the Quran that we will save you in your body this day. When he died and then he accepted, oh, I believe. When he's drowning, Pharaoh's words are, I believe with the one that the sons of Israel believe with, and I am from the submitters, I am from the Muslims fundamentally. Yeah, at the time of death, when you know reality, your submission will not be accepted, your faith will not be accepted at that time. So, this life is what you focus on in this life. That's what it becomes. If you want the life of this world, then everything you do and you focus on will perpetuate your existence and increase your wealth, increase your power in the life of this world. If you want the hereafter, that's what's going to happen. But the hereafter you can't grasp. You have to rely on that entity that exists, and he tests you. He's going to test me, he's going to test you, he's going to test everyone who has faith. How much do you doubt that the hereafter exists? How much doubt is in your heart that the hereafter exists in reality? When you overcome that doubt to the level he wants you to, then you'll see the hereafter. It's all over the place. It's everywhere. And understanding that we live in an enclosed system here. The world is an enclosed system. Some of these stupid scientists who actually have some knowledge utter these things once in a while. Well, we're in an enclosed system. We are in an enclosed system. We cannot get out. So when you see that, and then you say, okay, there's nothing outside of this enclosed system, then you think this is all there is. But the rub is that there are 7 coverings, or heavens, if you want to call them, or firmaments, or whatever. There are 7 coverings above us. We are under the lowest of the 7 coverings, or heavens. Outside of this are 6 others. And if you think of a enclosure which encloses something smaller than it, any kind of expansion and distance outside that will make it massively bigger than the area that is inside the lowest enclosure. I mean, it's like box inside a box inside a box inside a box. That's what we are here. We're a heaven inside a heaven inside a heaven inside a heaven, up to the 7th. And then above that is the throne of God, and his throne is above the fluid. There is fluid above this heaven. The stars that you see, the sun and the moon, above them is fluid, or they are floating in fluid. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been up there, but I do know that the covering, or the so-called firmament that is referred to, or a canopy or a tent, has water or fluid above it. I call it fluid because I don't know what kind of water it is. Water is many different shapes and forms, as we know, exists on the earth, and it's some fluid up there, and from that fluid is sent down to the earth from above the heaven, above this heaven, the heaven of the world, which will be destroyed that day. So I mean, when you think about this and you focus on the life of this world and your day-to-day garbage, who do I meet today, how do I get my sustenance, how do I increase my sustenance, it has no meaning. If you have the whole world in your hands, the day you die, what will you have in your hands of this world? Have you seen people die and take their gold and silver with them? That's what the freaking pharaohs, the Egyptians, did. They put all this gold and silver in their bloody tombs, thinking that's going to go with them to the next life. Good luck with that. That is not happening. The life of the hereafter is completely one unending compared to this life, and a level which this life is just game, it's show, it's a farce, it's garbage, it's nonsense, this life, compared to the hereafter. If you don't accept that, then you will focus on this life, which is what all of you do. I mean, I see people around the world just focusing on a day-to-day, 2-hour match, you go watch, that's your life. You go watch an NBA game or an NHL game, or soccer or cricket or whatever the other garbage that you watch, curling, ice hockey, it's just this garbage, this daily haste. The haste that you have pulls you into this garbage, and I'm not any immune to that. I used to do that as well, but when I woke up to the reality that this life is just illusion, it's a deception, sustenance of deception, I turn to the reality, which is the books of God, and they show me everything that's going on. Everything that's going on every day that tries to deceive me is in the book, and I find out, okay, this is deception, I better be careful with what I do with this. And I'm not saying I don't deal with the world. I deal with the world. I do what I have to. The financial system, which I call absolute tyranny, satanic to the hilt, I have to deal with it, because that's how God has put it. Like Joseph had to deal with the way of the king when he was brought and put in charge of all the treasures. He had to deal with the way of the king. That's the way God wants it. So, I mean, of course, I'm not in charge of anything except my own soul. So I deal with whatever God has put in front of me. I ask God to help me and protect me from the wretchedness of the system and the satanic inclinations of most everyone around me. So, that's what you do, how you live your life, living for God, serving God, So let's go into the Quran. I'm going to read a few to explain to you how this stuff is actually explained in the Quran as far as the life of the world and hereafter. A little comparison, yeah. So this is chapter 2. Ask sons of Israel, how many we brought from Sinai's glare, brought them from Sinai's glare. And one, he changes favor of God from afterward comes to him, but surely God severe the end. So, you watch yourself when God favors you and you believe, and then you change. You change the favor or you go against God, he's going to be severe in the end. Beautiful to those who reject the life of the world. So understand, when you reject God or the hereafter, especially the hereafter, the life of the world is beautiful to you. That's what Satan does. And they laugh from those who believe, and those who fear above them day of the standing. And God, he sustains who he wishes without account. So God can sustain Satan without account on the earth as well. They are. Look at all the Satans. They're in charge. I mean, they are the ones looking at all the beauty and holding it in their hands today, just like Pharaoh did, just like all the others. made beautiful to the mankind love of the desires from the women and the sons, and the treasures the treasured from the gold and the silver, and the rides the shaped, and the animals and the land, that sustenance of the life of the world, and God with him good, the abode. Say, or I inform you with better from that to you, to those who fear, with their Lord gardens flowing from beneath them, the rivers living in them, and spouses pure, and happiness from God. And God watches with the servants. So, understand, this is the life of the world. This is what you all go after. Women, sons, gold and silver, all the rides shaped. You want me to explain them? Planes, trains, boats, ships, submarines. You want me to explain all of this to you? And the animals and the land. You don't love this? You go after all of this. Look at it. That's what you're doing. That's the sustenance of this life of the world. But with God is the good abode. This garbage doesn't stand a chance with those who are turned to God and they seek abode with God. And this is the abode that the messenger tells you. I'm telling you. It's better from this. The garden to those who fear their Lord. They're going to have gardens eternal. It's going to be forever. Spouse is pure. Yeah, they're going to have all these things in the hereafter that you strive after here, and you kill yourselves to get it, while it just comes to you if you just wait. But waiting is too difficult for you. So let's see some other place. So every soul will taste the death, and surely what you paid your rewards day of the standing. This is when we are resurrected, by the way. After this whole thing will be finished off, destroyed, and then resurrection will occur. But any moved away over the fire and admitted the garden, but has achieved, and not the life of the world except sustenance of the deception. Understand this. This is a statement in the Quran. You can't get, oh no, we're not deceived. We're all deceived. I'm also deceived in this world. I know that. It's all a deception wherever I look. But I know I'm deceived, so I can't be deceived. It's a double-edged sword here. I know I'm deceived. I know I'm going to be deceived. I know I have been deceived. So I need to not trust anything in this life of the world. I need to take it for what it is and know that it's going to end. It's just a deception. It's a farce. It's a transition that will not hold water on that day. So this is also, but let them fight in path of God, those they sell the life of the world with the hereafter. And one, he fights in path of God, but he killed or he overcome, but soon we will bring him a reward great. So yeah, this is for those who want to fight the system. When the time comes, the fight will come. When the believers are in numbers, when Jesus returns or God sends his command, it will happen. So this is what the rejectors say. And they say, if here accept our life of the world, and not we with bringing out. So they're rejecting the hereafter, the resurrection. And if you saw, behold, they placed over their Lord, he will say, is not this with the truth? They will say, but surely, and our Lord. And there they will say, oh yeah, now we believe, when you're dead and then resurrected and you're shown. He will say, but taste the punishment with what you're rejecting. So, keep doing what you're doing against God and his messengers. And not the life of the world except play and lightness, and to be the home of the hereafter better to those they're fearing. Will but not you understand? And leave those who take their way play and lightness, and deceives them the life of the world. So, leave those. Just leave them. We're not supposed to, we're not your keepers. We're not here to force you to believe. We're telling you what's going to happen. You believe or you reject, it does nothing, no harm to us whatsoever. And remind with it that she be wrapped a soul with what she earns, not to her from other than God protection and not intercession. And if she does justifies all justice, not will he take it from her. Those wrapped with what they earn, to them drinks from boiling and punishment grievous with what they're rejecting. So you are taking the way exclusive is to God. That's what they do. They make fun and lightness of the way to God, which is submission, belief, understanding the books, abiding by the commands of the books and following them, and waiting for death and the hereafter. They make lightness and play of this, while the life of the world is lightness and play. I'm just telling him, this is just telling you what's happening here. The book is flipping your thoughts, and you will not flip because you're bought into the life of the world, unless you aren't bought into the life of the world like me, and this will make sense. You take the way of God, play and lightness, while we take the life of this world, play and lightness. This is the difference between me and those who are against what I bring and what the believers and the messengers bring. We are opposites. We have completely opposite frame of mind, and it cannot be reconciled. There's no reconciliation between me and the rejectors. It cannot be reconciled, not here. So here's a command to the demons when he meets. O community of the demons and the men, did not they come to you, messengers from you? They explained over you my signs, and they warned you of meeting of your day. This is what God's going to say to all men and demons that day. And they will say, we witness over ourselves. So now then they will say, yeah, they came, and they will witness over themselves and deceive them the life of the world, and they will witness over themselves. Surely they are rejected. This is what's going to happen in the hereafter. Here's about allowing and disallowing stuff. Yeah, this is the messenger telling you, any who disallows beauty of God which brought out to his servants and the goods from the sustenance, say here to those who believe in the life of the world exclusively day of the standing. So whatever you reject here that God has allowed, you will be disallowed that in the hereafter, even if you're in the garden, which you probably won't be, because you aren't going to be disallowing what God hasn't disallowed. Like that, we explain the signs to people, they're knowing. Surely what disallows my Lord, the lewdness, what apparent from it and what hidden, and the evil and the transgression without the truth, and that you partner with God what not he sends down with their authority, and that you say over God what not you know. This is disallowed clearly, but no. So another place, those, so this is when the command will be done, and this is what is said about the rejectors, the ones who are falsified God, those who took their way lightness and play, and deceived them the life of the world. But the day we forget them, like what they forgot the meeting of their day, this, and what they were with our signs, they contending. So don't contend with God's signs. You will rot in hell for that. Anyone who contends God and his messengers and the message they bring, they will rot in hell. There's no other thing about it. And just because it's too long and doesn't happen doesn't mean it won't happen. You just, maybe in your life it won't come, but it will. So, O you those who believe, what do you when said to you, run in path of God? You are heavy to the earth. Are you happy with the life of the world from the hereafter? But not sustenance of the life of the world in the hereafter, except little. What did I tell you? Little. The life of the world is garbage, nonsense, transition. That's what it is. Surely those not they expecting are meeting, and they happy with the life of the world, and they tranquil with her, and those they over are signs oblivious. Those they're aboard the fire with what they're earning. Keep going. This is what the book is saying. Those who believe this book, those who don't, they can go to hell. I don't give a damn. I curse them to hell anyways. Those who don't believe the words of this book. So here's another good example which I talked about. Surely what example of the life of the world like fluid. We send it down from the heaven, but mixes with it growth of the earth from what they eat, the mankind and the animals, till when she takes the earth her beauty, and she becomes beautiful. And think her keepers, surely they powerful over her. Comes to her our command, nightly or daily, but we make her mode like that not she self-sufficient with the day before. Like that we explain the signs to people, they thinking. And God he calls to home of the peace, and he guides who he wishes to a highway constant. So that's the life of this world. That's how the life of this world is. If you can think, you'll know. So here's a curse of Moses. Okay, this is what Moses did when he was done with Pharaoh. It said, Moses, our Lord, surely you brought Pharaoh and his chiefs beauty and wealth in the life of the world. Our Lord, to their estrangedness over your path. Our Lord, blot over their wealth and severe over their hearts. So not they believe till they see the punishment, the grievous. God responds, have I answered both your calling? So both be constant, and don't you both follow path of those, not they know. So he accepted this from Moses. What happened? Pharaoh got massacred, him and his forces massacred. That's what's going to happen again and again. It's been happening, it's going to happen again. So here we go again. Those who are, they wanting the life of the world and her beauty, we pay back to them their deeds in her, and they in her, not they short. They, those, not to them in the hereafter accept the fire, and shut off what they manufacture in her. Her is the life of the world, and wrong what they're doing. So understand it. When you just want the life of this world, it's not, God ain't saying don't want the life of this world, by the way. Ask for the life of the hereafter and the world, but know that this life is nothing, so just ask for good sustenance. Good sustenance in the life of the world and fantastic in the hereafter. That's what you want if you really know the truth. God, he extends the sustenance to any he wishes, and he measures. And they rejoice with the life of the world, and not the life of the world in the hereafter, except play. Play, that's what it is. Those, they strive loving the life of the world over the hereafter, and they stop over path of God, and they seek to it crookedness. Those in a strain is far. So you understand this. Who is actually putting the hereafter above the life of this world today? Who is it? Very few, very, very few. Even of the believers, there are extremely few people who focus on the hereafter than this world. This world is for, oh, this is all, we got to do good deeds will save us. No, your faith will save you. Your good deeds alone cannot save you. That is the absolute truth. One who rejects with God from after his faith, except one forced, and his heart tranquil with the faith. But one who cleaves open with the rejection chest, but over them anger from God, and to them punishment great. That with surety they strive, loving the life of the world over the hereafter. And surely God, not he guides the people, the rejecting. When you love this life over the hereafter, you become rejectors in your hearts. You don't even understand it because your hearts are shut off. You can't see, you cannot hear, you cannot understand. And strike to them example of the life of the world like fluid. We send it down from the heaven, but mixes with it growth of the earth, but becomes dust, spread it the winds, and is God over everything powerful. This is the life of this world. What happens? We grow and we become dust. It happens every day around us. Can't you see it? The wealth and the sons, beauty of the life of the world, and the leftover, the righteousness, better with your Lord, paying and better delaying. So this is God telling the messenger, say, should we inform you with the loser's deeds? Those astray their strivings in the life of the world, and they think, surely they good manufacturing. Those who reject with signs of their Lord and his meeting, but shut off their deeds, but not will they stand to them day of the standing, balance. Not will we stand to them day of the standing, balance. So, here's a messenger comes, this is what he says. Then we created from after them generation other. This is after one was destroyed. But we sent in them a messenger from them that serve God, not to you from God other than him, will but not you fear. And said the chiefs from his people, those who rejected, and they falsified with meeting of the hereafter. And we bestowed them in the life of the world. So they're the rich ones, or so-called rich ones. Not this except a conscious being, your example. He eats from what you eat from it, and he drinks from what you drink. And if you obey a conscious being, your example, surely you then to be losers. Does he promise you? Surely you, when you die and you are dust and bones, surely you to be taken out. Oohoo, oohoo, to what you promised. If here except life of the world we die and we live, and not we with bringing out. If he except a man makes up over God falsehood, and not we to him with belief. So now your rich ones are going to say this, which they're saying. Look around you, that's what they're telling you. He said, my Lord, help me with what they falsify me. He said, years few, to their surely becoming regretful. So grabbed them the blast with the truth, but we made them dust. But away to the people, the wrongdoing. Understand what happens, This is what happens when you destroy the existence of the life of the world. Let's see if a couple of others. I'm done with this. So this is, let's see which chapter this is in. Chapter 40, this is a guy who believed when Moses was there. And he stood up for Moses when Pharaoh wanted to kill him or imprison him or do garbage to him, yeah? And said the one who believed, this is the one who believed, who kept his faith hidden when Moses and Aaron came to Pharaoh after all the story of Moses and his meeting God at the burning bush at the side of the Mount of Sinai. This guy is defending Moses. Oh, my people, follow me. I will guide you path of the right conduct. Oh, my people, surely what this, the life of the world, play, and surely the hereafter, here home, the standing. Any who does evil, but not he repaid except example of it. And any who does righteousness, from male or female, and he believes, but those, they will enter the garden, they sustained in her without account. And O my people, what to me? I call you to the safety, and you surely call me to the fire. You surely call me to my rejecting with God, and my partnering with him, what not to me with that knowledge. And I call you to the mighty, the forgiving. No doubt, surely what you surely call me to it, not to it calling in the world and not in the hereafter, i.e., Pharaoh and everything of this world. And surely we will be turned to God, and surely the exceeders of limits, they companions of the fire. But soon you will remember what I say to you, and I send my command to God. Surely God watches with the servants. So stopped him God evils of what they plotted, and surrounded with family of Pharaoh evil the punishment. This is the story. If you understand, it happens all around us every day. We just don't see it because we're not amongst everyone.